And for number 3, part A, it says use completing the square to find the exact solutions of the equation 4x squared minus 4x minus 1 equals 0, right? So for this, we're going to start by factoring out 4, so that we get x squared minus x, because we're factoring out 4, then minus a quarter, right? It's like we're dividing everything by 4, and this should be equal to 0. So we're going to complete the square for this, then multiply by 4. So it's 4x minus half the coefficient of x is half, then you square this, minus 1 over 4, then you subtract minus half squared, which gives us a quarter, right? So we have this equal to 0. So we're now going to multiply everything by 4. So it's 4x minus a half squared minus 1 over 4 minus 1 over 4, that's minus 1 over 2. So minus 1 over 2 times 4, that will give us minus 2, right? And this is equal to 0. So to get x, we're going to say x minus half squared is equal to 2, taking this 2 to this side, then we divide by this 4, right? And to find x, again, we're going to square root both sides to get rid of this squared. So it will be x minus half equal to plus or minus half as well. And taking this half to the other side, x will be equal to half, which is this one, it's now positive, plus or minus root of a half. And since the question said find the exact solutions, we are not going to simplify any further. So the solutions will be half plus root half, or half minus root half, right? And they're exact like that, right? Then for part B, it says hence solve the equation 4 tan theta equals 4 plus 1 over tan theta. Many a times if you see this word hence, it means you're going to need some information or the answer from the previous question, right? So let's first try and make this into a quadratic equation in tan, and for that we just multiply everything by tan theta to get rid of this tan theta in the denominator here. So multiplying everything by tan theta, we get 4 tan squared theta equal to 4 tan theta plus 1, right? And taking everything to the left hand side, we get 4 tan squared theta minus 4 tan theta minus 1 equals to 0, right? And looking at this now, we can see some similarities between this equation and the first one that we were given, this one. It's 4x squared minus 4x minus 1. This is 4 tan squared theta minus 4 tan theta minus 1. You can see that for the first equation in A, we had x, where we now have tan theta. So that means that where we got x, where we got these solutions, we can say tan theta equals this, because it's the same equation, but for this one we just have tan theta replacing x, right? So we can go ahead and say tan theta equal to half plus root half, or half minus root half, right? Because it's the same equation, and the only difference is that for this one we have tan theta replacing x, right? So the solution will be the same, because if we're going to solve this, we were going to just say let tan theta be x, and we're still going to get these same solutions, right? Now for this, you can see that you get a positive for this. We're going to try and use the cast system or the cast diagram, so I'm going to try and explain that. So for that, we ignore the signs, right, which are here, right? We just assume that they are positive. For this one, it's positive, and for this one, half minus that, it's a negative, right? Like that. Once we know this, we now ignore the signs to find the principal values, and we find the principal values by saying theta equals the tan inverse of half plus root half, like that. And we do the same for the other one, ignoring the sign, so it will be the tan inverse of the positive of that. So we can say it's half minus root of minus root of 1 over 2. So it's minus 0.207. We just write it as a positive 0.207, like that, so that we get the PVs. And punching this in our calculator, we get 50.36 degrees, and punching this we get 11.7 degrees. Now these are our principal values, right? Now using the cast system, where we have cosine, O, sine, and tan, that's why we call it cast, right? This one stands for cosine, this is for O, sine, and tan, right? And we call this the first quadrant, this the second, the third, and the fourth. So for the first quadrant, the answer is the principal value, right? And for the second quadrant, the answer is 180 degrees minus the principal value, right? For the third, it's 180 plus the principal value for the third, and for the fourth, it's 360 minus the principal value, right? Now we're going back to considering the signs now. So in the first quadrant, all these trigonometric functions, sine, tan, and cos, are positive in the first quadrant, and in the second, it's only sine that is positive. In the third, it's only tan that is positive, and in the fourth, it's only cos, right? So if we have a positive cos, we will be taking our answers from the first quadrant and the fourth. If we're having tan which is positive, we're taking our answers from the first and third. If we're having a positive sign, we're going to take it from the second and the first, right? And in a similar case where we have a negative sign, or sine theta being equal to a negative, we consider these, the third and the fourth, because we know it's positive in the first and second, so we consider the third and fourth. And if we're having our cos being negative, we are now considering the second and the third, because we know in here and then the fourth it's positive. And when we have our tan theta being equal to a negative, we consider the first and second. We consider our tan being negative, so we consider the first and the fourth, since we know in here and in here it's positive. So if we have tan theta being equal to a negative number, we consider the second quadrant and the fourth, right? I hope that was clear. So now with our principal values, since we said this is a positive, so we can see that our tan theta is being equal to a positive, so we can call that a positive tan. So for a positive tan, we're going to be taking our answers from the first quadrant, and the third, because we said in the first quadrant all are positive, and in the third it's only tan that's positive. So tan is positive in the first and third, and we can see in the first we're going to be taking 50.4 degrees, and for the third we're going to say 50.4 plus 180, so it's PV plus 180. We get our 230.4 degrees, right? And those are our two answers for the first part where tan is being positive. And for this one, we know that our tan is negative, right? So when our tan is negative, we consider the second and the fourth. Since we know that tan is positive in the first and second, if it's negative, we consider the third and fourth. And for the third, you can see it's 180 minus the principal value, 180 minus 11.7, which is 168.3 degrees. And for the fourth, it's 360 minus 11.7, which is 348.3, right? Now with these four answers that we got, we just have to check and see if they fall within this given range, because we're told theta should be between 0 and 180. So we're only picking answers that are between 0 and 180. So we can see that 50 is between 0 and 180, and 168.3 is between 0 and 180. So those are the two answers that we're going to go with. So we discard these, right? So our answers will be 50.4 degrees and 168.3 for this particular question, only because we're given this range. But if the range was saying from 0 to 360, would have considered all our four answers, right? And with that, you get your 3 marks, and you'll be done with number 3. All right.